Welcome back to this week's broadcast from the heart of Bison Nation. I am DeMontra Cole, and I'll be taking you through all the latest campus and local news, including the NDSU choir director has received a Lifetime Achievement Award for her outstanding contribution to the arts and music. Also, a Fargo woman has been accused of attempted murder for running people down with her car, so stay tuned. The NDSU choir director receives Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Joanne Miller, the distinguished professor and director of choral activities here at North Dakota State University, with a career spanning over 3 decades, she has dedicated her life to the art of choral music. Dr. Miller has been director of choral activities here at NDSU since 1989, and it has been her greatest privilege to work with such talented students and colleagues throughout these years. In addition to conducting the concert choir, Dr. Miller also teaches undergraduate and graduate courses in conducting and choral literature. Her knowledge and expertise have inspired countless students to pursue a career in music and music education. Dr. Miller is also the artistic director of the NDSU Baroque Festival, an annual event held here that celebrates the music of the Baroque period. She also serves as the chorus master of the Fargo Moorhead Symphony Orchestra. In 2009, Dr. Miller was named a distinguished professor, the highest honor awarded to faculty here at NDSU. And just this past December, she conducted her final farewell performance of Handel's beloved Messiah, a Christmas oratorio written by himself in 1741. As Dr. Miller prepares for her final curtain call here at NDSU, the university and its students wants to thank her for her years of music, leadership, love, elegance, and grace. Here at the Bison Network, we wish Dr. Miller all the best in her future endeavors, and we know that her legacy will continue to inspire generations of musicians and music educators to come. The Northern Crops Institute here at North Dakota State University is unfortunately cutting some staff members. Co-director and technical manager David Boehm says for several years now, NCI grew rapidly, adding to the range of services and programs that it provides. Over time, that growth unfortunately did not match the revenue necessary to cover expenses. In addition, post-pandemic, inflation affected many operational costs, which were not reflected in pricing models. Addressing these financial challenges, NCI determined the need to make reductions for a more sustainable future. A reduction in force impacted 5 benefited employees as well as a contracted and hourly staff. NCI remains focused on its primary mission of supporting regional agriculture through educational and technical programs. A Fargo woman is in Cass County Jail for attempted murder after reportedly running down multiple people with her car Sunday morning. 24-year-old Princess Gia was arrested on charges of attempted murder, reckless endangerment, and DUI. Police say 3 victims were taken to the hospital, but serious injuries included 1 person with life-threatening injuries. The investigation, it is still going. We want to definitely send our prayers, our love to the families of the victims of this heinous crime that took place. 35-year-old Andrew Stephen Dagger of Mableton has been charged with 2 felonies. Dagger is also the mayor of Mableton, North Dakota. Court documents say around 4 p.m. on Sunday, February 18th, Becker County deputies responded to a crash that had happened at the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area. A witness stated that a pickup truck was speeding toward him and took the curve at a fast speed before crashing into some trees in a large rock. Deputies say a female passenger was severely injured in the crash and was found to be unconscious. Deputies added that the female fractured her neck and back. Dagger told deputies that he had had 4 beers, unfortunately, that night. Deputies noted that Dagger's eyes were bloodshot and had a BAC of 0.141. We also want to send our prayers, our love for the female who was injured severely in this accident. We are praying for a speedy recovery. ADOS are bringing more Black Americans and fight for economic equality. Reparations and the lingering racial wealth gap has been conversations for the last 50-plus years, largely within the Black community. Both issues have received wider attention of late, particularly among the current crop of Democratic presidential candidates. All the Democratic presidential candidates, except for former Vice President Joe Biden, who serves now as our president, said they support legislation to at least study the issue of reparations. Only Maureen Williamson, who recently ended her presidential campaign, said she fully supports reparations in the amount of $200 billion to $500 billion. Biden has not endorsed any reparations legislation. And reparations and Black economics have been addressed at some of the recent Democratic debates. The movement, which has gained traction on social media in recent months, has attracted the attention of some academics like Cornel West and politicians like Williamson, who spoke at an event for the group in the fall, though many are loath to associate themselves with it, either for or against. ADOS, which stands for the American Descendants of Slaves, advocates are adding a whole new layer to the conversation on reparations and economic justice by advocating only for Black descendants of slaves and not the Black community as a whole. The question of who is entitled to what and the issue of Black American politics of unity, and some of the issues ADOS is highlighting are ones that Black people will have to ask themselves, said Tillery. These are in fact issues that Black Americans will need to talk about amongst each other about reparations and narrating the racial wealth gap become even more mainstream in American political conversation and into the 2024 elections. Study finds 76% of Black Americans celebrate Black History Month. A new study is shining a light on how Black Americans celebrate Black History Month. The report found that while 26% of Americans celebrate Black History Month, only 76% of Black Americans actually celebrate the month. The most common way Americans celebrate the month is by supporting Black-owned businesses, though 48% say they celebrate by educating themselves on Black history and culture. Black History Month is the brainchild of Carter G. Woodson, Born in 1875 in New Canaan, Virginia, to two formerly enslaved illiterate parents, Woodson eventually earned his Ph.D. from Harvard University. In 1915, he started the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History with the goal of teaching, preserving, researching, and making public the history of African Americans. In 1926, Woodson launched Negro History Week to be celebrated in the second week of February. In 1976, President Gerald Ford extended the week-long holiday to a full month to highlight accomplishments of Black Americans here in the United States in every area throughout our history. Today, 66% of Black Americans said the month is important to the Black community in general. According to the study, 41% said it is important for non-Black Americans to also celebrate or at least acknowledge Black History Month as American history. Since 2001, at least 18 states have imposed bans or restrictions on teaching topics of race and gender. Some of these bans have led to the banning of books written by Black authors. In December, Missouri's own Francis Howell School District Board of Education voted to stop offering courses on Black history and Black literature. The classes have been available to students at the 3 high school and the district since 2021. Now, that is all for news tonight. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, our very own Vinny, he will give us all the latest updates on sports as the spring season kicks off. Also, we'll take a look at where the Fargo food tour is headed this past week. I am DeMontra Cole, and stay tuned.
Let's take this out of the studio and hit the roads as we explore Fargo and discover the best restaurants in town. There's a wide range of foods to explore here. We will help you discover some delicious food finds in this new series that we like to call Fargo Food Tour. Stay tuned as you get to meet the special guest and the owners, all on episode 5, Moonrise Cafe. Here is a worker at Moonrise. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
My name is Becky Parker, and I'm a news anchor at WDAY-TV. I graduated from NDSU in 2010 with a degree in journalism, broadcasting, and mass communication technologies, and then I had an emphasis on broadcasting. Principles of broadcast production and advanced broadcast production. Those were favorites because they were the most relevant for career experience. You're calling people for interviews, you're writing an article. It doesn't just feel like an assignment, it's like actually doing it. I was the news director for the first full semester of the Bison Information Network. The BIN advisor here was very much invested in me to actually have a career in broadcasting. He helped me get my internship and my first job. The people in NDSU's Department of Communication are really interested and helpful in getting students the connections that they need in order to get a job beyond school.
deserves to go hungry. But try as they might, not every family can afford to put food on the table every day. That's why the Great Plains Food Bank and their partner agencies work every day to bring food to our hungry neighbors. Every dollar donated can provide 4 meals for those in need. Go to greatplainsfoodbank.org and donate today so no kid in North Dakota ever has to go hungry.
Welcome back to the Bison Sports Report. This week is going to be a little bit different, changing things up and calling it the Bison Blitz, where I try to cover all the Bison sports in 6 minutes or less. Starting now. First, we will take a look at men's basketball when they face off for second in conference against a strong Oral Roberts team. With the first half underway as the Bison find themselves down 5 quick, but Jakari White pulls through and misses, but Andrew Morgan can rebound and put the Bison up. Now, down by 5 again. Stunberg with a 3, and he hits it. With the lead now cut by 2, NDSU is looking to take the first lead, finding Miller hopefully wide open in for a 3, and he can get it. Now up by 1. Another wide open 3, Jakari White this time, and he gets it. Putting up the Bison is Miller adding to the lead. Now the Bison were on a hot streak as this was tipped in by the opposing team. Now with 5 seconds left on the clock, up by 5, NDSU down the court, finds Miller in the corner. Buzzer beater gets it. Yes, he does. Gets a halftime to 38-30. Coming out of half now is Jakari White, hopefully to find a layup if we can get there. Yes, we can, because they find Jakari White, just like I foreshadowed, and gets it off the board. And now the Bison up by 10. Federson drives in for the 2, and he gets it. Now, the game is out of reach for the Eagles. Trying to put the game away is Thunberg as he hits his free throw. The Bison with the lead and time running out. Eagles couldn't do nothing, and the Bison end up winning this one, 73-60. This was a game for second place, and the Bison took it with a win here today. Although a fight could possibly break out because of a bad call, and it does, because the Bison and the Eagles are fighting, throwing hands, yelling at each other, and pushing and shoving. It was a bad fight. I don't know what to tell you about this one, because Oral Roberts just cannot take losses well, I guess. It even came down to Oral Roberts needing to tackle their own player as they needed to settle things down. But now, after the dust has settled, the Bison walked away with a win and tried to control the second seed for a while, but then proceeded to travel to Denver and gave it up because they lost to them 71-77. This game now puts them right back to where they started in the conference standings, which was 4th place before both of these games. Now, NDSU looks to rebound as they host St. Thomas at the Shack tomorrow night, with tip-off being at 7 p.m. Make sure you attend the game, and if not, watch it on Summit League Network or listen to it on 107.9 The Fox. Now, talking about a team that is in the same place after 2 games is the women's basketball game, when they hosted Oral Roberts and beat them 83-73. The Bison were steamrolling, although they had to travel to Denver. Lucky for them, they have been struggling of late, with the women being 9-2 in conference play and 15-9. They are ranked 2nd in the conference, only behind SDSU. As we head into tip-off, and NDSU wins the little ball getting. Now, the Bison looking to put up the first points of the game as they find Abby wide open for the passes it inside, finds Abby wide open for the 2 with a little under layup. Fast forward, tied up 20-20. Elle Evans trying to look for someone, but she cannot. Drives in for the 2, and she gets it. But it does not stop there, with Heaven Hamling driving in down the court and looking for someone. She can't, off the backboard, and gets it in. Now Evans trying to repeat what she saw and did exactly that. Evans trying to extend it with a 3, and she does. Now the Bison were on a roll, and it does not stop there with another 3. And making it be 12 unanswered points as Elle Evans tries another 3, and she makes it, making the score 43-25. And a little passing around, and Elle Evans in the corner tries to extend it, but she misses. Although it would not matter, as the Bison would go into halftime. Now, fast forward to the 4th quarter, as the Bison extend their lead with this 2 here, and that would be the game, as the final score was 86-65, continuing their great win streak of 5. They look to extend their win streak with traveling to Minnesota, with tip-off being at 7 p.m. tomorrow. You can watch it on Summit League Network or listen to it on Bison 1660. Turning to another sport that the Bison are doing well in is track and field. Over this past weekend, the Bison were up at UND tune-up for the men. They did pretty decent, as Jaden Williams, Dylan McGrath, and Michael Hugo all won their events. Now turning over to the women, Grace Emmett, Aureen Birch, and Kendra Kelly all won theirs, as the Bison prepared for the Summit League Indoor Championship this weekend here at Fargo. Now, a team that has not looked like a championship caliber team is NDSU softball, as we cover all their games that they have played. They started off with the weekend with a number 10 ranked Duke and lost badly, 0-18. Then had a good comeback game against Elon and won, proceeding then to lose to North Carolina State and Elon for back-to-back losses, as they would follow this up with back-to-back wins against Campbell and UConn. NDSU softball plays Eastern Louisiana next Friday at 2. Now going from a struggling team to another, as the Bison baseball team did not look hot to start, as they played a 3-game stretch against UC Irvine and got swept. Now, looking to rebound after the loss, they will face off against Cal Poly on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Lastly, turning into another team that has been struggling of late is NDSU wrestling team, as they lost to Missouri 6-32 over this past weekend. It was a rough watch, as the Bison once again fall. Hopefully things can pick up for them as they face SDSU on Sunday at 2 p.m. Alright, that's all I have for sports today. Usually when the spring sports get started, Fargo is still weeks away from seeing any spring weather like this. However, I have been able to tuck my winter jacket away already because of the nice weather we are having. Ethan, can my winter jacket be left in the closet, or do I need to pull it out again?
Well, Vinny, it looks like for weather coming up today, we had a pretty solid temperature at 45 degrees. It felt like 46, and a pretty decent humidity at 61 degrees, with the north winds pushing up at 6 miles an hour. For our hour-by-hour forecast, we started off the day with pretty decent temperatures as they rose through noon, and right now we're sitting about 39 as we continue to decrease through the night and into the early morning of tomorrow. For our skycast, you can see that we had about 10 hours and 39 minutes of sunlight today, which is pretty great. We're getting a little bit more of that as time goes on. In addition, we have our sunset at 6 p.m. tonight, so that is just passed. We hope you found it quite beautiful. In addition, our moon phases show that we've got a waxing gibbous tonight and a full moon coming up on February 24th. So be careful about those werewolves. They do get a little bit rowdy in that night. In addition, you can see with our almanac, it fluctuated very wildly with a high of 49 degrees in 1981 and a low of negative 26. I feel bad for those guys in 1956. Today's temps, however, had a high of 47 and a low of 26. So we did hit below freezing a little bit, just enough to freeze some of that water on the ground and keep it there for a little while yet to come. In addition, I feel terrible for everyone up in Maine. They were the only people on this map below freezing. Hats off to those guys. In addition, looks like Texas is living it up down here with 82 degrees, and we've got some pretty decent temperatures across the country with the northern coastlines and on both sides of the country seeing the worst of it. For our rain and snow forecast for the next 48 hours, you can see that the only activity we've really got going on here is some rain in the on the eastern side of the United States, especially, and a little bit of snow up in Maine where the temperatures can be a little bit chilly, and some snow over here in the Colorado area, so Fargo doesn't have to worry about anything in particular. We had a little bit of rain today, but that cleared up pretty easily. For my 7-day forecast, Vinny, to answer your question, you're going to have to pull out that coat every other day as we have some fluctuating temperatures throughout the week. Tomorrow we're going to have 44 degrees before it drops below freezing again on Friday. Saturday it'll be extremely sunny, thankfully, no clouds out, so it'll be up to 50 degrees. That's the best day of the week we've got. In addition, as things continue to go on, Sunday drops down a little bit to 37. They've got overcast skies. Monday looks similar, but the temperature rises a little bit. Tuesday is overcast, and then Wednesday drops below freezing once more, becoming the worst day of the week as we film our next show on that day. For our national days, we have two contradicting national days on this Wednesday, with National Grain-Free Day coming up, as well as National Sticky Bun Day happening at the same time. Sticky buns are apparently another word for caramel rolls, which I learned today. Pretty cool, huh? Back to you, Vinny.
Well, thank you, Ethan. I appreciate your weather report and the clarification on the Sticky Bun Day. Although I am glad that my winter jacket can be tucked away until basically Wednesday. But that is all that we will have for this week's newscast. If you're interested in watching our past broadcasts or other featured shows, they are all on the YouTube page at Bison Information Network. On behalf of everyone here in the studio, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and peace out.